mathematics. When you were in high school or in your PU, you had one subject called as mathematics. Padartha Vijnana is just like mathematics. If you get used to it, you understand it, it becomes easy. If you don't understand it, certainly it is going to be a tough subject. So this subject comes up with another added advantage. If you understand it, if you write it clearly, you can score more. But at the same time, there's a risk. If you don't understand, fail to write it, you have a big risk of failing also. So therefore, treat this as a mathematics, treat this as a subject to score more and not just passing. Because if you write correctly, there is no one who is going to stop you from scoring more in the subject of Padartha Vijnana. So another thing is this Padartha Vijnana is taken to be the less important or non-important subject. This is another myth or wrong conception among the students. They often quote the reason that because it is something which don't have a practical examination. So for Padartha Vijnana, unlike other subjects, doesn't have a practical examination, and a belief comes that whichever subject doesn't have practical examination will be less important. That is also not true. In fact, Padartha Vijnana is a foundation on which you have to stand and start applying the whole of your practice. So therefore, a strong foundation laid down by the Padartha Vijnana is very much important to build your career in the field of Ayurveda. The third misbelief is it has no practical utility. That is also wrong notion. The Padartha Vijnana has, as I said, is the foundation. If there is no strong foundation, then there is no scope for any practical applicability. If you want to be a successful practitioner, you have to learn Ayurveda in its native form. To learn Ayurveda in its Mula Swarupa, you have to have Padartha Vijnana. And another belief is it is only philosophical study. It is only philosophical study. That is to say, we study only the Darshana in Ayurveda. This also is a fallacy itself, because we study only the factors present in Indian philosophy that are relevant to true Ayurveda. We are not concerned because Indian philosophy has got a lot of other things to offer. Our concern is only those which are of importance for maintenance and acquiring the health. Only we touch those aspects in Indian philosophy. And another thing is, can be taught by anyone. So this is another factor. It's not that everyone is capable of teaching Padartha Vijnana. It requires some sort of dedication, commitment, and basic understanding of Pada Vibhaga, and going to the Mula of the Pada and understanding the Pada in its native form. Thereafter, we can have a different understanding and applications of Padartha. So these are some of the myth that has to be dismissed right at the beginning of the entry into your Ayurveda curriculum. So now we'll look into what really is Padartha Vijnana. The title of the topic given to me is Significance of Padartha Vijnana in Ayurveda. So we look into what is Padartha Vijnana. Now, this Padartha word is not a new word. You would have heard it before coming to Ayurveda also. It is generally a Kannada word which says any substance. Padartha means vastu. Padartha means a matter. Padartha means a substance. And Vijnana means Vishesha Jnana. Vishesha Jnana, the special knowledge of the Padartha, is known as Padartha Vijnana. So what is Padartha that we are talking about? So when we talk about Padartha, matter or substance, can there be anything, if you, I suppose all of you have logged in through your mobile. If you put your eyes across, you would see so many padarthas. One padartha is right in front of your eyes, the mobile phone itself. Now, when we say padartha, it is made up of the, again, two words. One is pada and the other one is artha, where pada is group of letters and it has to have some capacity to convey a meaning, shaktam padam. So the meaning that it conveys is becomes a padartha. So therefore, all the substances that you see are padartha. So therefore, even all those group of letters which communicate anything, even if it is not visible, we call it as padartha. For example, there's something called as atma. You cannot see, but it is a group of letters that conveys you some meaning. And moksha, punarjanma, all these are the words, pada, which are giving you some artha. So which are the padartha? So padartha can be a simple pen to the most complicated moksha also. So this is the whole range of padartha when we talk about vastu or substance or padartha. So our concern when we talk about Padartha Vijnana is the study of all those padarthas. Now, when we talk about all those padarthas, because one of the in the beginning itself we confront with so many things. That's why Acharya Sushruta quietly says, "Aparimitashta padarthaha." The padarthas are basically countless, innumerable. So whatever you see is a padartha. Whatever you understand is a padartha. So therefore, the padarthas are countless. So can we study all those padarthas? Okay, the answer can be in two forms, yes or no. Yes, because the Padartha Vijnana subject guides you to know the different Padartha at different level. And thereafter, Padartha, as far as Ayurveda is concerned, we limit our study of the Padarthas relevant to the Ayurveda Prayojana, that is Swastasya Swastharakshanam and Aturasya Vikara Prashamanam. So therefore, our study of Padartha Vijnana is rallied around getting the knowledge about the Ayurveda. So that should be the primary purpose and the focus of the significance of Padartha Vijnana in Ayurveda. So when I say it is useful in Ayurveda, so in what way it is useful, the next question comes. So for that, we have to have a clarity in what is Ayurveda. Because unless until we know what is Ayurveda, we cannot say where and how I make use of the Padartha Vijnana. So let me briefly outline what is Ayurveda to you. So what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda is a word made up of two words again, Ayu and Veda. So when I say Padartha, Ayurveda is also Padartha because it is a group of letters that is having some capacity to convey a meaning. So Ayu is the combination of Sharira, Indriya, Sattvatma, and Veda means the knowledge. The study of this is known as Ayurveda, and that's why it is also called as Jivita Shastra. Jivita is a synonym of Ayu. We study what are the components of Ayu, and we make use of those for to achieve certain goals in our life, and therefore it is called as Jivana Shastra also, the life science as well as the science of well-being, healthy living. But that's not the end of Ayurveda. That can be achieved by practicing some Swastha Vritta, Sadvritta. But Ayurveda has got a lot more things to offer. Ayurveda is basically a Vaidyaka Shastra. It's a Chikitsa Shastra. It's a science which is going to treat so many diseases that the human race is suffering, and an Ayurveda graduate would be a proficient Ayurveda Vaidya at the end of his curriculum. So that is to say, we are in an endeavor of making you an accomplished physician. So Ayurveda is a Vaidyaka Shastra, is a Chikitsa Shastra, is a science of medicine. Now, this Ayurveda is basically made available to us in the form of Samhitas. So, there are three Samhitas that we call as Brahat Trayi, Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, and Ashtanga Hridaya and Ashtanga Sangraha together clubbed as Vagbhata Samhitas. So there are three major sources of information for Ayurveda. The Ayurveda is completely or rather greatly dependent on these three samhitas. A proper knowledge of three samhitas is enough for you to be an accomplished Ayurveda physician. If you have a mastery on three samhitas, then you are done with the study of Ayurveda. And after that also we have some allied and secondary samhitas in the form of Lagutrayi, and thereafter some the texts, some granthas dedicated to certain branch of Ayurveda, which will make you a proficient in certain particular branch of Ayurveda. So this Ayurveda has got Ashtanga, as you know, Kaya, Bala, Griha, Urdhvanga, Shalya, Damshta, Jara, Vrashan. And after the completion of your graduation, you can choose to be an expert in any of these. My concern here is the Padartha Vijnana is the basic for the study of all these Ashtanga. You have to be an expert in Padartha Vijnana to be an expert in Kaya Chikitsa. You have to be an expert in Padartha Vijnana to be an expert in Shalya. You have to be an expert in Padartha Vijnana to be an expert in Bala, or you have to have an expertise in Padartha Vijnana to be an expert in Ayurveda. So that is what is the Ashtanga as far as the Ayurveda is concerned. And as I said, the Samhitas are the mother source of all the information. So 80% of what you study in throughout Ayurveda is from these Samhitas only. Be it Shalya, Shalakya, Dravyaguna, Rasashastra, or the Roganidana, whatever references that you are studying are either from Charaka Samhita or from Sushruta Samhita or from Madhavanidhana. So we're basically coming to the Laghutrayi and Brahatrayi only. And as I said, these are all are written in Samskrita Bhasha. So Samskrita Bhasha Jnana is very much essential for us to learn them in their Mula Swarupa. If you learn them in Mula Swarupa, then you can have a better understanding and better applications. And all of them are written in Sutra and Bhashya Krama. Sutra means two-line quotation and Bhashya means prose. So one of the Tantra Guna happens to be the Sutra Bhashya Sangraha Krama. So all our Samhitas are temporarily arranged in a sequence in the form of Sutra, where each shloka is connected to the next shloka in the form of a garland, just like how the flowers are connected through a thread in a garland. Likewise, Sutra are connected and Bhashya are connected, and this connection has to be understood, and there has to be, for the connection to be understood, you have to be aware of what are the pada that are used. So pada jnana becomes important, and padartha jnana becomes important. Padartha means the meaning of the word that is there in the shloka, and thereafter a complete knowledge of that would happen in through the Padartha Vijnana. So Vishesha Jnana of all the Pada and their Artha in the Sutra, in the Bhashya, throughout our Samhitas is what is essential, and this Padartha Vijnana subjects literally sows seed to start for you to start thinking on those platforms. So that is where the Padartha Vijnana is relevant and important. So therefore, when I say Padartha Vijnana, so what it makes is, it helps you to understand any concept, anything in three domains. That is Padataha, Tadarthataha, Prayojanataha. So the reference for these three words is the Arunadatta commentary on the first chapter of Ashtanga Hridaya Sutrasthana, first sloka itself. Padataha, I have to know everything from the meaning of, to get the meaning of the pada. Then I have to understand its artha, its utility, also prayojanataha. So these are the three domains. So for example, let me take an example and tell you how we go ahead with the study of Padartha Vijnana. For example, you would learn something called as Dravya in Padartha Vijnana. What is Dravya? Dravya is a group of letters which is going to give you some meaning. Dhruvato Dhatu. So that is Gati, that is the meaning that we get from Padataha. The second one is Tadartataha. So this Dravya comes up with its own definition. The definition is Yadrashritaha Karma Guna Karanam Samavahiyatata Dravyam. So we say the Dravya as Dravya which beholds the Guna and Karma in an inseparable relation, and to that we call it as Dravya. And it has a Prayojana also. Grossly, Acharya Charaka says Prayojana of this is Dhatu Samya Kriya Chokta. So Dhatu Samya is the Prayojana of Dravya also. So the utility of Dravya is I have to make use of this as a medicine, or I have to make use of this as a ahara. So this is how we have to learn all the pada and take them to a logical conclusion as padataha, tadartataha, prayojanataha. If that happens, then the purpose of study of Samhita would be served, because how can we study the Samhitas? Samhitas are studied in the form of, the shloka says from Charaka Samhita Sutrasthana 30, Vakyashaha Vakya Arthasho Avayavash Artha Avayavascha. So avayava means the tiny fragment of a big sentence. I have to understand a tiny component avayava pada of a sentence. Then I will understand the sentence. Then I will derive the meaning of the sentence. The sentence is either it is shloka or a bhashya. So therefore, this Padartha Vijnana is basically a Vijnana which is going to give you a tool to you how to use, get the meaning of the Pada. And as I said, this is relevant for all whole study of Ayurveda. I have put on screen some examples as the words as an example, the pada themselves as an example. Dosha, rasa, dravya, dukha, chikitsa, swastha, garbha, netra, haritaki, kushtha, vamana, chedana, srutas. All these are pada and all these are artha. And all these arthas are highly specific to Ayurveda. A dosha can be a mistake for a layman. For dosha, for us, is a big concept on which the foundation of Ayurveda is laid. Dosha is those which are capable of dushana to the sharira. So is the case with rasa, dukkha. If you look into the word dukkha, dukkha means dukkha is durdusthani khani, dukkha srotas. Dukkha is pain. For us, dukkha is disease. So kit rogapanayane is the chikitsa. So chikitsa has to be understood with that mula swarupa. So basically through this platform, I'm going to tell you that you have to know the artha of every pada that you learn, you come across with in the study of Ayurveda, irrespective of the subject that you learn. Be it at the beginning, you may be having a subject of Sharira, Kriya, Rachana, Ashtanga, Hridaya, and Padartha Vijnana and Samskrita. But the Pada and Artha are not just limited to these subjects, they go beyond the subjects. Even when you go to the second, third, and final year BMS, you find a new Pada and you have to get the meaning of the new Pada, and therefore you have to go to the Mula Pada and get the meaning. So that is what is the basic purpose of Padartha Vijnana. The basic purpose of Padartha Vijnana is to learn the artha of each and every pada that you come across with in your study of Ayurveda. So with this, we go to what really is there in the subject of Padartha Vijnana. So I know that each of your syllabus point has been allotted to different speakers. So therefore, I would not touch to any of those subjects. Grossly, I will tell you that in the subject of Padartha Vijnana, these are the things that you will be learning. You'll be learning the Darshana and Darshanika Vishaya. Darshana means the Indian philosophies. Indian philosophies are relevant for the study of Ayurveda. That's why we need to study them. So Darshana and Darshanika Vishaya, when I say what are they? They are grossly put in this slide as Padartha, as Pramana, as Srishtutpatti, as Atma Paramatma concept, Karyakarana Siddhanta. So Padartha are, from the philosophical perspective, they have identified and categorized the Padartha into different segments. For example, from the Vaisheshika school of thought, there are Shat Padartha. From the Nyaya school of thought, there are Shodasha Padartha, and for Sankhya, their own tattvas are Padartha, the Panchavimshati tattvas. So we study the Padartha from those philosophies because they have got their own applications. I'll come to the applications soon. So we study the Padartha, and for the study of Padartha, for the study of any subjects, we need some technology, some methodology to know them. And we have something called as Pramana, from where we see, we understand the Padartha. So Pramana is the sadhana for knowing the Padartha. If there is a Dravya, I have to know a Dravya. So therefore, I have to make use of the tools like Pratyaksha, Anumana, Aptopadesha, etc. to know the Padartha. So to know the Padartha, I make use of the Pramana. Pramana are the tools of getting the knowledge. Now, in the process of learning the things, we come across another concept called as Srishti Utpatti, how these Padarthas are evolved, how these Padarthas are made. To explain that concept, we have a phenomenon called as Srishti Utpatti. Each philosophical science is giving its own opinion on Srishti Utpatti. So Sankhya's Srishti Utpatti is more relevant to the Ayurveda. So my concern over here is how the Padarthas are developed is what is being told to you through the Srishti Utpatti. And we have next important concept, that is Atma Paramatma. So to call something as a darshana, it has to deal with Adhyatmika Vishaya, and Adhyatmika Vishaya is the Atma related Vishaya. That's why these are called as darshana and not the other sciences are called, other sciences will not be called as darshana because they don't deal with the Atma. So Atma is an essential component of study of any of the Bharatiya Darshana, and Atma at times would be identified as Padartha itself. So Atma will be learned also as Padartha, as a Chetana Dhatu, as a Paramatma. There are different grades at which you will learn the Atma, which will fall in the domain of subject of Dravya, and we have to learn that also. Then there is Karya Karana Siddhanta. When we talk about Srishti Utpatti, we have to understand what is getting produced and what is producing. So for that, there is something called as Karya Karana Siddhanta. And if you look into all these 5 points, all these are highly interconnected. Highly interconnected. There are, what is this universe is made up of? The universe is made up of Padarthas. How do I know the Padartha? I know the Padartha by using Pramana. How these are produced? That is told through Srishti Utpatti. And what are the Karya and Karana? What are the Karana for the Srishti? That are told through the Karya Karana Siddhanta. And these highly interconnected subjects are being dealt, and therefore this whole syllabus itself is titled as Padartha Vijnana. So this is what we study in Padartha Vijnana. Now obviously a question comes, why do we study the Darshana? Because we have come here to study Ayurveda. We have come here to study Ayurveda. Why should I study Darshana? Is the next immediate question. So a question itself comes. The question itself has an answer. Do we study an Darshana? To some extent, yes. To some extent, no. Because when we study Darshana, we're not studying the Darshana in its entirety, because that is a subject of someone who studies the BA philosophy or masters in philosophy, and we're not doing that. So in that sense, our study of Darshana is only related to study of Ayurveda. So why we need to study these darshanas when we have philosophy is entirely, and we are studying Ayurveda as a medical science. So why do we need to study them is a big question. So for which on the screen you can see first point, that is similarity in origin. If you look into the Ayurveda Avatarana, Ayurveda Avatarana, as told in Vidotpatti Adhyaya of Sushruta Samhita, is said to be Ayurveda is also the origin of the offset of Veda itself. It's an Upaveda of Atharva Veda, is an offshoot of Atharva Veda, and the originally it is written as Brahma Samhita by the Acharya Brahma, it's by the Lord Brahma himself. Thereafter, it got itself manifested in different Samhitas. So even in Samhitas, we know that Vedas are the mother source of all the universal knowledge, and the Vedic content that itself got manifested relevant to the health is documented in Ayurveda Samhitas in the form of Charaka Samhita or Sushruta Samhitas, which have been later added, critiqued, commented by the authors like Chakrapani, etc. Now, when we look into the origin of the Darshana, Darshana also have got the similar origin. The Darshana have got their origin in the form of the Vedas themselves. The Vedic content was later simplified and rewritten in Upanishad, and from the Upanishad we have different Darshana taking their origin. For example, Vaisheshika Darshana uh, begun by Acharya Kanadas. From the content of Upanishad, he went on writing the Kanada Sutra or Vaisheshika Sutra. Thereby, we have Vaisheshika Darshanas. So is the case with Gautama, who went on writing the Nyaya Darshana. So my concern over here is there is a strong similarity in the origin of the both the darshanas, and both the darshanas have got almost the same time period. So therefore there is a strong influence of one on the other. So there is a strong influence of the darshana on Ayurveda, and on the screen you can see one picture which is depicting that there are two rivers uniting and taking forward. We call it as Sangama in colloquial language. We call it as Sangama, where two rivers unite and carry forward as one. So likewise, there is one Ayurveda river, there is one Darshana river which become one and carry forward, and they move forward in such a way that we cannot separate them. That makes us study the Padartha Vijnana. We cannot separate Ayurveda from the Padartha Vijnana. That's why we need to study Padartha Vijnana to study the Ayurveda. So that is where we need to study the Darshana. Another important reason why we study the Darshana is the Prayojana itself. The Prayojana of Darshana and Ayurveda both are the relief from Trivida Dukkha. When we talk about Trivida Dukkha, I'm talking about Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika Dukkhas. So for a philosopher, it is the moksha which is troubling. It is the Punarjanma that is troubling, and he wants to get the freedom from Punarjanma and end up with moksha. For Ayurveda, we are concerned with the Adhyatmika Dukkha, the Sharirika Dukkha and the Manasika Dukkha, which are in the form of diseases. So the basic purpose of both the Darshana as well as Ayurveda is Dukkha Nivritti. Freedom from the pain is the basic purpose for which the Darshana and Ayurveda both are putting their effort. So the Prayojana is very much similar. But then when the Prayojana is similar, but there is a gross difference also. So Darshana is said to be Sadhya Pradhana, that is, the goal of any Darshana is decided. The goal of any Darshana is to get the moksha, that is decided, that is final. Whereas for Ayurveda, we are basically dependent on sadhana. When I say sadhana, I'm talking about tools. When I say sadhana, I'm talking about tools. My tools is to know what has gone wrong in the patient. My tool is to see which disease he is suffering and what I can do to make him healthy. So that is what is the sadhana pradhana shastra. So for Ayurveda, all these padarthas are tools. For Ayurveda, all these pramanas are tools. Pramanas are tools to know what is wrong in him. Padarthas are the tools to make him healthy again. So therefore, this is the difference, gross difference. That is, Ayurveda is sadhana pradhana shastra, whereas Darshana is sadhya pradhana shastra. However, the prayojana is same, there is a difference in the approach. But since both the sciences go hand in hand together at the fundamental level, it is very much imminent for us to study the darshanas. Now, I will briefly look into some 3 or 4 reasons why we need to study the Padartha Vijnana. On screen, I am giving you the first reason we need to study Padartha Vijnana for the study of basic principles of Ayurveda. The basic principles, the fundamental principles of Ayurveda can only be studied if you have a strong knowledge of Padartha Vijnana. On screen, you can see a building where the foundation is our subject of Padartha Vijnana and Samhitas, and the Samhitas are later built upon by a nice building. You can build very nice building if you have a strong foundation. It's not just nice building, but also a strong building. You can be an expert in Kaya Chikitsa, but if you have to be you can be an expert only when you have a strong foundation of Padartha Vijnana and Samhitas. For you can be anything if the foundation is very strong. So this Padartha Vijnana is going to lay a firm, strong foundation of Ayurveda in you. That is the purpose of study of Padartha Vijnana. So there is another purpose, that is the study of the Samhitas, the Siddhantas. Now, what is a Siddhanta? Siddhanta is a conclusion that is arrived at after repeated tests, and those conclusions are the postulates. You cannot change them for most. So we need to study them and we need to make their practical applicability at times when we come across with patient, when it comes with any situations. So treating a patient is primary role of a physician. That's why I'm emphasizing more on that. You can be a philanthropist, you can be an industrialist, you can be anything after completing your graduation, and Ayurveda offers you opportunity in any sphere of the life. So when we talk about a strong foundation, it's just on the screen you can see an image of a tree. A tree has got roots. If the roots are strong, the tree will be, rather the fruits that the tree will be more. A stronger roots is very much essential. And when we talk about Siddhanta, we have something called as a Maulika Siddhanta. The fundamental Maulika means the Mula. Mula is the base, Mula is the root. A stronger root will make you a proficient Vaidya at the end of your curriculum. So if fundamental principles are there, based on those fundamental principles, you have many applied principles. You will not understand any Chikitsa Siddhanta without understanding any of the Maulika Siddhanta. So therefore, it is very essential for us to learn the Padartha Vijnana, to learn the Maulika Siddhanta, so that we understand all the secondary principles of Ayurveda. So secondary principles can be dosha, dhatu, mala, etc. if you look into the Padartha Vijnana point of view. Now, so therefore, when we look into some of these philosophical fundamental principles, why we need to study these philosophical concepts is, some philosophical concepts are fundamental principles of Ayurveda. So which is to say that Ayurveda has accepted the philosophical concepts as it is and made it the fundamental principles of Ayurveda itself. For example, there is a Loka Purusha Samya Siddhanta, which says whatever that is there in the Loka is there in the Sharira also. So this human has got everything that is there in the universe. So this gives you a fundamental principles on which a Samanya Siddhanta is built up. So that is to say, the whole universe is made up of Pancha Mahabhuta. The body is also made up of Pancha Mahabhuta. Any changes in the body takes place, then I can bring this body back to normalcy by using the Pancha Mahabhutas that are outside. So this is the Samya Siddhanta, the Samanya Siddhanta applied directly in the form of Panchamahabhuta. When I say Panchamahabhuta, Ayurveda Samhitas start directly with the applied aspects of Panchamahabhuta. There is no Samhitas which is going to give you a basic meaning of Mahabhuta, Panchamahabhuta. So we have to go to the philosophical study to learn the Pancha Mahabhuta in its native form, in its Mula Swarupa, and that happens through study of Vaisheshika or Nyaya Darshana. To be specific, our own Tarka Sangraha will make us a competent in Pancha Mahabhuta. Thereafter, I can think of this fundamental principle being applied in the Ayurvedic principles, the Pancha Mahabhuta Siddhanta. Again, the Pramana Shastra, for them it is to know the Padartha, for us it is to know the Rogi. We make use of the Pramanas to learn the disease, to learn the Dravya that is in our hand, the Aushadha Dravya in our hand, the Ahara Dravya that is in our hand. We study them using our own Pramanas. And Karyakarana Bada is another theory I mean, philosophical aspects of that we need to study in Darshana. Thereafter only we can study how the diseases are manifested, how the health is being restored, the manifestation of diseases through the Kriya Kala, etc. is an applied aspect of Karyakarana Siddhanta from the philosophical aspect. Atma, Mana, Kala, Dik, again, in our Samhitas, we directly deal with the applied aspects. For basic knowledge about all these, we have to open the Darshanas only. Trigona Siddhanta. Trigona Siddhanta, we again is studied in applied form only in Ayurveda Samhitas, but basic Sattvam Laghu Prakashakam. So to know this, you have to study the Indian philosophies. Triveda Dukkha, I already mentioned about this. So basically, to some of these philosophical concepts are our own fundamental principles. To learn our own fundamental principles, we have to learn these darshanas. That is the message that we have to get from this slide. Next one is, some philosophical concepts are directly the applied health principles of Ayurveda. Dukkha, I have mentioned it. Dukkha for the philosophers is the Punarjanma. Dukkha for Ayurveda is the various vyadhis, because the word dukkha itself is made up of du. Du means dushta, kha means akasha srotas, dukkha means dushta srotas means vyadhi. So this is how our Padartha Vijnana is essential. So for dukkha nivritti, what our acharyas are telling are shatkarana. Shatkarana are dravya, guna, karma, samanya, vishesha, samavaya. So shatkarana, shat padartha are the padartha for philosophers. For Ayurveda, they themselves are the karana for dukkha nivritti. So since these are also the dravyas, we have much evolved dravyas in our study of the health, that is the Tridosha, Saptadhatu, Mala, all these are again substances. We have to study them. We have to understand them. When we talk about understanding them, we have to study the gunas, because when we study Vata, what is Vata? Tatra Ruksha, Laghu, Shita, Khara, Sukshma, Chalo, Anilaha. So it has got gunas in it. So that's why we have Guna Siddhanta. We learn gunas basic form in Bharatiya Darshanas, whereas when we talk about studying gunas in Ayurveda, we are already talking about it in terms of applied aspects. So yes, Samvarane Shakti is applied aspect of certain guna. Manda is the guna of Manda is a guna which is going to be Shamana in nature, is an applied aspect of Manda guna that we study in Ayurveda. But Manda guna, what is its Mula Swarupa, we study in Darshana. So therefore, it has got its own applicability here also. When we talk about karma also, the basic definition of karma is there in Vaisheshika Darshana, that no one can challenge even today. So without Samyoga and Vibhaga, there can be no karma. Is found mentioned here. But what is the karma for Ayurveda? Our karma is to give treatment. Our karma is to the kriya. That's why kartavya se kriya karma karma nanyad apekshate is the definition of karma. So therefore, it is the applied aspect. We have started directly the applications of the philosophies in our study of Ayurveda. Then the Indriyas are there, Atma is there, Trividha Karana is there, Satkaryavada is there, Parinamavada is there, Parinamavada is there. But when we look into the whole of Ayurveda Samhita, where is the Parinamavada? We directly start applying Parinamavada as Rasadraktyam Tato Mamsam. So we talk about Parinama here. Then for all of for diseases, there are Trividha Karana, Satkaryavada is there. Without any cause, there can be no manifestation. So all these are the fundamental principles that are there in the darshanas, which Ayurveda has directly started applied version. So since we directly start the applications of those, we have to learn them in the native form, and the native form of those will happen in darshana only. For that, we need to go to the darshanas and the Padartha Vijnana. Then, second important point for the study of Padartha Vijnana is for practical use of all fundamental principles. Now, I mentioned you some of the principles related to the chikitsa itself. But other than chikitsa also, we have certain other applications, because Ayurveda is to understand the utility of Padartha Vijnana. Ayurveda is not just a medical science, but it is also a way of living. It all talks about dinacharya, it talks about rutucharya, it talks about sadvritta, and particularly the karma siddhanta of the Purva Mimamsa will help us to have a better social life, so that our sadvrittas are in harmony with the society. We understand the Iha Paraloka. For us, when we talk about practical, Iha Loka is me and Paraloka is the society in which we live. And so therefore, Sukha Pravritti is the Uddesha, that is Sukhartha, Dharma Para. One has to be Dharma Para. All these are the principles that are there in the Ayurveda, which bear a strong nexus to the Karma Siddhanta of Mimamsa. So practical use of all fundamental principles is the second purpose for which you have to make use of the Padartha Vijnana. The next I'll run, since I have taken more time. Next few slides I'll just run through. So see, the third is Padartha Pramana Prakriya Jnana. So what is here? When patient comes to you, there is some sort of process that is taking place in his body. We have to understand it from the perspective of Padartha. What Padartha is getting changed, we have to know it. And to know this, we have to use some tool, that is Pramana, that is Pratyaksha, Anumana, Aptopadesha, etc. And Prakriya Jnana will happen. After the Prakriya Jnana, we have to use again the Padarthas to bring certain desired changes, which will be to maintain the Swasthya, that is Swasthya Parayana or Atura Parayana, that is to either to maintain the health or to restore the health in the form of Hetulinga and Aushadha, with the purpose of bringing about Dhatu Samya Kriya. The next one is for the ease of understanding the Chikitsa Siddhanta. See, I told you there is something called as Karma Siddhanta, there is something called as Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta, Karya Karana Siddhanta, there is Swabhava Paramavada. Without these basic knowledge, you can never apply any Chikitsa Siddhanta. For example, I have taken Gurucha Tarpanam, is a Chikitsa Siddhanta of Staulya. In Staulya Chikitsa, what is being told here is we have to use the dravyas that are Guru in nature, but still does the Tarpana, that are non-nutritive Guru dravyas. No, how can I do chikitsa without me getting the proper knowledge of what is Guru Dravya and what is the Tarpana? What is Tarpana? How the Tarpana and Guru substances are linked? How can I avoid the Guru Dravyas that are going to bring Tarpana? How can I choose the Guru Dravya that is going to give the Tarpana only? So to understand this, we have to have a strong knowledge about Guru Guna, and we learn the Guru Guna in Padartha Vijnana only. And likewise, the Jwarado Langhanam Proktam is another Chikitsa Siddhanta. In the beginning of Jwara, Langhana is sufficient. When we talk about Langhana, we mean fasting. And what does it mean? Langhana is Lagutva, Lagutva is lightness. So lightness, Laguguna is basically learned in Padartha Vijnana in its true form.